You've seen it, right? If you spend any time at all online, it's everywhere. That magic number, the new benchmark for success that's plastered all over social media. It's become the holy grail for entrepreneurs. But what does it actually take to cross that five-figure-a-month barrier?
Yep, $10,000. It's the goal, the dream, the number that supposedly separates the amateurs from the pros. But, behind all those filtered photos of laptops on sunny beaches, there's a huge misunderstanding of what this number really means. And let me tell you, it's not about luck. It's not about just hustling or working harder.
So, what's the secret sauce here? Well, it turns out it's less of a secret and more of, well, just math. It's a mathematical reality built on one single core principle: leverage. Reaching this goal isn't magic. It's about understanding how to apply a specific structure to the way you create and deliver value.
And here's the good news. There are proven pathways to get there. Now, they aren't easy, don't get me wrong, but they are predictable. So today, we're going to break down the three main routes that people take to consistently hit that five-figure mark.
Okay, so what are they? We've got developing high-value skills to sell services, building scalable systems to sell products, and using capital leverage to sell assets. Let's dive into what each of these really means.
All right, first up, high-value skills. This is where you stop trading your time directly for money. It's not about working more hours. It's about making every single hour worth way more. A generalist really struggles here, but a specialist, someone like a cybersecurity expert who stops $1 million data breach, they charge for the result, the return on investment they provide. This leads to a really powerful rule of thumb. If your skill can make or save a company 100 grand, then charging them 10 grand for it is an absolute steal. It's a total mindset shift.
Okay, let's talk about path number 2, which is all about building scalable systems. This is the game changer, the point where you truly separate your time from your income. You create an asset one time, and it can make money for you over and over again without you having to be there for every single sale. Think about a software tool or an online course. You build it once, and the cost to sell it to 1,000 people is pretty much the same as selling it to just one. Or think about e-commerce, using these huge global platforms to sell products at a scale you could never, ever manage on your own.
And that brings us to path number 3, capital leverage. Okay, now this is the end game for a lot of people. It's literally about making your money work for you. Now, this path absolutely requires you to have some seed capital to get started, which is why it usually comes after you've mastered one of the first two paths. We're talking about things like real estate investing, playing the stock markets, or buying a piece of other private companies. Basically, your money becomes your employee, working around the clock 24/7.
So, there you have it. Those are the three big highways to get there. But what does this actually look like in terms of numbers? Let's get practical and break down what hitting that $10,000 goal can look like in the real world, because it can take a lot of different shapes depending on which path you choose.
Okay, check this out. It really breaks things down. If you want to make that 10 grand a month, you could get just 2 high-ticket clients and charge them 5 grand each. Done. Or you could build a subscription and get 200 people to pay you $50 a month. Or you could go the mass market route and try to sell 1,000 products where you make a $10 profit on each one. Seeing it like this really puts it into perspective, right?
And this is the big insight, especially if you're just starting out. So many people try to play that mass sale game, trying to get thousands of customers for a low-priced item, but they just don't have the audience or the marketing budget for it. I mean, think about it. Finding 2 people who will pay you a lot is a whole lot easier than finding 1,000 people to buy a cheap product, especially when you have no audience to begin with.
But, okay, let's say you do it. You hit the goal. That's not the end of the story. There are some harsh realities that come next. This is the stuff they don't always tell you about in those flashy social media posts, the things that can trip you up right after you think you've made it.
Because here's the deal. There's a massive difference between the goal and the game. The goal is earning $10,000. Simple enough. But the real game, the one that actually matters for long-term success, is keeping $10,000. And trust me, those are 2 very, very different things.
So what are we talking about here? What are these challenges? First off, taxes and expenses. Oh man, earning 10 grand does not mean you take home 10 grand. Not even close. Your net profit is way, way lower. Second, there's this weird psychological plateau. The scrappy hustle mode system that gets you to 10K, it's probably not going to get you to 50K. You have to evolve. And finally, and this one is tough, the discipline of boredom. Real success is often just, well, boring. It's about doing the same thing that works over and over and saying no to all the shiny new distractions.
So if the goal isn't just about the number, what's the real shift we need to make? It's about a deep, fundamental shift in how you see yourself and what you do. It's about going from being a worker to being an architect.
See, an architect isn't just, laying bricks. They're designing the whole building. They build a system where the value you're providing to people is obviously and significantly greater than the price you're asking for. When you get that right, the money just follows. It becomes the natural result of the value system you've created.
And that really brings us to the most important question you can ask yourself on this whole journey. So stop asking, how do I earn $10,000? Instead, start asking, who do I have to become to be able to provide $10,000 of real value to the market? That shift right there, from getting to becoming, that's the real secret. That's how you don't just hit the number, but you stay there and keep on growing.